Thanksgiving has always been my favorite holiday. The smells, the warmth, the feeling of family gathered close, even when things weren't perfect. But last year, something changed. Something I still can't explain. And to this day, I don't even know if what I saw was real, or if I've just gone insane. It started the way it always did. I drove back to my parents' house, a few hours outside the city. The leaves had already fallen. The trees stood bare against the cold gray sky. There was frost on the grass. And when I pulled into the driveway, I could already smell turkey in the oven. Inside, everything felt familiar. The same decorations. The same old tablecloth with faint wine stains from years ago. My mom fussing in the kitchen. My dad complaining about football. But there was something else too. A chair, an extra chair, pulled up to the table. I noticed it right away. It didn't match the others. It was older, wooden, carved with strange patterns along the legs. I had never seen it before. "Who's that for?" I asked, pointing to it. My mom froze, just for a second. Her hand trembled as she set down a bowl of mashed potatoes. Then she forced a smile. "Oh, that. Just thought we'd need some extra seating this year." But we didn't. There were only 5 of us. Mom, Dad, my sister, her husband, and me. That was it. I didn't say anything else. But I couldn't stop staring at the chair. The carvings almost looked like faces, twisted, screaming, like someone trapped in the wood. Dinner went on like normal. At least it tried to. We passed plates around. We laughed about old stories. My dad swore at the TV. But every time I glanced at the chair, I felt sick, because it wasn't empty. Not really. There was something there. A shadow. A shape. The outline of someone sitting, but not. Like heat waves rising off pavement. Distorted. Shifting. I blinked hard. Rubbed my eyes. Looked again. The shape was still there. My sister noticed me staring. "You okay?" she whispered. I nodded, forced a smile, but inside my stomach was twisting into knots. Then, something happened that made my blood run cold. The chair moved, just a little, the faintest scrape against the floorboards. No one else seemed to hear it, no one else reacted. But I did, and I knew. Something was wrong. After dinner, I helped my mom clear the table. I couldn't hold it in anymore. "Where'd you get that chair?" I asked. She went quiet again. Her hands gripped the edge of the counter. Then softly she said, "It was your grandmother's." I frowned. "I don't remember it." "You wouldn't." She kept her back to me. She only brought it out when someone was missing. The words made no sense. "What do you mean, missing?" But she didn't answer. She just turned the faucet on, drowning out the sound of her voice. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing noises downstairs, the creak of floorboards, the scrape of wood against wood. Finally, I went down. The house was dark, the air freezing, and there it was, the chair, sitting in the middle of the dining room, not at the table anymore, turned slightly, facing me. My heart stopped, because this time, I saw her. It was my grandmother, her face pale, her eyes hollow, her lips trembling as if whispering words I couldn't hear. Her body didn't move, but her hands gripped the armrest so tight. Her knuckles were bone white. "Grandma?" The word slipped out before I could stop it. Her head twitched, just a fraction. Her eyes met mine, and then she smiled. A slow, broken smile, like the skin was cracking just to form it. I stumbled back, nearly tripping over the rug. But when I looked again, she was gone. The chair sat empty, silent, still. The next morning, I tried to convince myself it was a dream. Just exhaustion, just my imagination. But at breakfast, I noticed something. On the table, In front of the chair, there was a plate, full. Turkey, potatoes, stuffing, half-eaten, and none of us had touched it. I told my mom what I saw. She didn't look surprised. She didn't even look at me. She just wanted a place at the table, she whispered. And then she walked away. That was the last time I spent Thanksgiving at home. I can't do it anymore. I can't sit at that table. I can't look at that chair. Because deep down, I know it's still there, waiting. And someday, it won't be my grandmother sitting in it, it'll be me.
It was Thanksgiving night, cold, wind pushing against the windows, the smell of roasted turkey still heavy in the air. My family was small, just my mom, my dad, and me. We weren't the type for big gatherings. We liked it quiet, simple. We had just finished eating. The table was messy, plates stacked, glasses half full, and that's when it happened. A knock at the door. Not loud, not urgent, just steady. 3 slow knocks. Boom, boom, boom. I froze. My mom frowned. My dad pushed back from his chair. Nobody visits on Thanksgiving night. Not out here. We lived in the country. Nearest neighbor was a mile away. The knock came again. This time, harder. Dad cleared his throat. "I'll get it." He walked to the door. The floorboards creaked under his weight. The house was silent. The only sound, the wind scratching at the windows. He opened it, and there she was, a woman, standing in the dark. She looked wrong. Her clothes were dirty, her hair matted, her skin pale, too pale, and her eyes didn't move, didn't blink, they just stared. "Can I help you?" Dad asked. She tilted her head, slowly. Her mouth opened, but no words came out, just a sound, like air escaping, a dry, broken hiss. I felt my stomach knot. Mom whispered, "Close the door." But Dad didn't. He stood frozen, like he couldn't. The woman raised her hand. Her fingers were long, too long, and her nails were black, jagged. She pointed, not at my dad, not at my mom, not at me. She pointed past us, into the house. My breath caught. The living room was behind us, the fireplace, the photos on the wall, the empty armchair. There was nothing there, but she kept pointing. Her lips trembled, and then she spoke. Her voice was thin, fragile, but sharp enough to cut. "He's already inside." The words froze my blood. Dad slammed the door, locked it, bolted it. But when he turned, the armchair was no longer empty. Something was sitting there. Not a person, not really. Its shape was twisted, its face blurred, like shadows given form. It sat perfectly still, but I could feel its eyes, burning into me. Mom screamed. Dad rushed forward, but the thing moved first. It rose from the chair, its body unfolding in ways that weren't natural, too tall, too thin. Its arms stretched, fingers reaching. The lights flickered. The air turned heavy. Every breath felt like drowning. And then, it spoke, not in words, in sounds. The exact same dry hiss the woman had made. It stepped toward us. We stumbled back. Dad grabbed a knife from the table. But when he swung, it passed right through, like smoke, like air. But the thing laughed, a sound that wasn't a laugh at all. It rattled the walls, shook the windows, made my bones ache. I thought I would faint, collapse. But then, the knocking returned. Boom, boom, boom. The woman, still outside. Her voice cut through the chaos. "You have to let me in." Dad hesitated, his face twisted. But the thing was already reaching, its fingers brushing his shoulder. He made a choice. He ripped the door open. The woman stepped inside, and everything stopped. The shadow froze, its form shook, trembled. The woman raised her hand again, but this time, she wasn't pointing. She was holding something. A chain. Rusty. Old. Covered in symbols I didn't recognize. She spoke words that made no sense. Not English. Not any language I knew. And the shadow screamed. It folded in on itself, collapsing, shrinking, until it was nothing more than a smear of black. And then, it was gone. The woman dropped the chain. It hit the floor with a dull clang. She turned to us, her pale eyes finely blinking, her lips trembling. "Lock your doors," she whispered. "Next year, it will try again." Before we could speak, before we could ask who she was, she stepped back into the night and vanished. Dad tried to follow, but when he opened the door again, there was nothing. Only the cold wind and the sound of leaves skittering across the porch. We never saw her again, but every Thanksgiving since, we set an extra place, just in case,